Review for Geometry, Topic 5 and 6, Exam, Section 2. Section 2 has 14 questions. Question number 1. What is the value of B in the triangle below? So if we look at this triangle here, this triangle consists of 3 triangles. We have the small triangle on the left, the bigger triangle on the right, and the big triangle that encompasses the smaller 2 triangles. They want us to find out what is the value of B. Now, in order to find the value of B, we're going to have to create a proportion. Now, that proportion can only contain one variable, which is the variable B. I can't use any side that has a different variable. Like, for example, I can't use this side that has the letter A or this side that has the variable C. I cannot use those sides in my proportion because if I include them, then I won't be able to find out what's the value of B. So keep that in mind. Okay, para encontrar el valor de B, tengo que hacer una proporción. Y para poder encontrar el valor de B en esa proporción, no puedo usar un lado que tenga otro variable diferente. Porque si lo incluyo, no voy a poder encontrar el valor de B. Así que no se puede usar el lado que tiene A ni el lado que tiene C. Okay, now if you examine all 3 triangles to see what is B in that side, like what I mean is this, is B the hypotenuse, is B the long leg, or is B the short leg? Alright, when you examine that as it relates to all 3 sides, this is what you'll find. If we look at triangle YDP, alright, triangle YDP, that's this big one, YDP. Alright, in this big triangle, what is B in that big triangle? Alright, in that big triangle, this is the hypotenuse. Alright, the hypotenuse is this side, which measures 20. Because this part is 5 and this part is 15. So the hypotenuse is 20. We can see that A is the short leg and B is the long leg. Alright, B is the long leg. So in triangle YDP, the hypotenuse is 20 and the long leg is B. Okay, en el triángulo YDP, okay, podemos ver que la hipotenusa es este lado que mide 20 y la pierna más larga sería el lado B, porque A es más corta. Okay, so now let's also look at triangle DMY, this triangle right here, DMY. All right, in this triangle, we got B is the hypotenuse, and the long leg is 15, because you could see that the shorter leg is this side, which is C. And let me explain what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to get is create a proportion where I'm comparing a side with a number to B and another side with an actual number to B. All right? When you look at the proportion, you'll see what I mean. All right? Estoy tratando de comparar un lado que tiene una medida, que puedo ver la medida, que es un número, a B, y en el otro triángulo la misma cosa. Un lado que le puedo ver que es la medida de ese lado, a B. Alright, so look at how I create my proportion, right? I wrote here what I'm doing. On the top, I'm writing the hypotenuse, and on the bottom, I'm writing the long leg. I could have written it like the long leg on the top and the hypotenuse on the bottom, but this is the way I did it, alright? So again, like this one is, let me see, 20 and B. So this one, on the left side, I got triangle YDP. Triangle YDP. And on the right side, I got triangle DMY. Alright, so this is the hypotenuse of triangle YDP being compared to the long leg of triangle YDP. And the hypotenuse of triangle DMY being compared to the long leg of triangle DMY. In a proportion, you got to compare the same thing to the same thing. Like what I mean is this pattern, if I'm comparing the hypotenuse to the long leg on one side, I got to do the same thing on the other side. The hypotenuse to the long leg. All right. Now listen, on the exam, I'm basically imitating the way it is on the exam. All right. And you want this situation. You want to create this situation where I have the same variable like that diagonally. Okay, now it's just a matter of solving the proportion by cross multiplying diagonally. All right, so you cross multiply to solve the proportion, and you're going to get b squared equals 300. B squared equals 300. Okay, now, if b squared equals 300, that means that to find b, you got to get the square root of 300. However, you can't do this with a calculator because they want you to simplify it, keeping the radical sign. Okay, so, I mean, I don't have too much time to go over this. This is something that you should know already. But remember that the proper way to simplify the square root of 300 is like this. This would be the simplified answer, okay? Esto es la respuesta simplificada, okay? Because what you're trying to do is this. You're trying to break up 300 and find the greatest factor of 300 that you could get the square root of. The greatest factor of 300 that I could get the square root of is 100. The square root of 100 is 10. Once I get the square root of 100, which is 10, that 10 goes outside the radical sign. And the square root of 3, I could not simplify it any further, so that stays underneath the radical sign. On the exam, you're going to have a different number, okay? Another way you could have done it, by the way, just very quickly. Let's say instead of breaking it up, the square root of 300 into 100 times 3, you could have broken it up into something wrong. Or not wrong, but something not as quick. Like let's say 5 times 60. All right? If you break it up that way, you could just keep breaking it up until the only thing you have left are the prime factors, the prime numbers that you multiply to get 300. So for example, I could break up 60 into 6 times 10. Keep breaking it up until all you have are the prime numbers that make the prime factors. All right, so 6, I could break it up into 2 times 3. These are prime numbers. 10, I could break it up into 2 times 5. Okay, now when a number appears twice, like the 2, that represents 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So that goes outside the radical sign. The 5 appears twice. That represents 25. So that 5 goes outside the radical sign. The 3 only appears once, so it stays here. This 2 times this 5 gives you 10. So that's another way you could get the simplified answer. Okay, that's something that I don't have a time to do a million examples on that. That's something that you should know already, okay? But you got to simplify the answer keeping the radical sign. And you could always check, well, I'll leave it at that. Let's continue. All right, number 2A. So on this one, I got several different examples that you could practice on this same question. A bike ramp is 10 feet long and has an end height of 6 feet, as shown below. What is the measure of angle theta? So we gotta find the measure of this angle. Tenemos que encontrar la medida de este ángulo. All right, so remember that when you're looking for the measure of an angle, that's when you use these keys, the inverse keys. And to access these keys, first you gotta hit the second button. All right, cuando estamos buscando la medida de un ángulo, tenemos que usar estos botones. Y para poder ver estos botones, primero le tenemos que dar a este botón que dice segundo. All right, so from the point of view of this angle, what are these sides? From the point of view of this angle, we have the opposite and the hypotenuse. What trigonometric ratio compares the opposite side to the hypotenuse? That would be sine. All right, sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Okay, so the way I'm going to set up my equation is going to be like this. The measure of angle theta equals the inverse of sine 6 divided by 10. All right, so in your calculator, what you're going to do is this. First of all, make sure you hit second so that we have these buttons are available. So in your calculator, you would do 6 divided by 10 equals, then you hit the inverse of sine button. Okay, and the answer you should get is 36.9 degrees. Okay, así que en la calculadora tienen que hacer 6 dividido por 10 igual a, y entonces le da a este botón para el inverso de sine, y la respuesta que te debe dar es 36.9 grados. All right. Right here I have same exact question. I just changed the numbers in case you want to practice it and see if you get the same answer. Okay, esto es la misma respuesta, la misma pregunta. Le cambié los números para que lo practiquen. And the correct answer is down below. All right. Now question 3A. This is the first question we're going to have on where we got to partition a line segment. So it says given point A is at -4, -6, and point B is at 14, 9 on directed line segment AB. What is the y coordinate of point F that partitions AB in the ratio of 3 to 2? All right, so first of all, they're not going to give you this picture. All right, I'm providing it, but you're going to have to draw your own picture. However, keep in mind, I'm imitating what's on there, so you could use my picture as a guide, ¿ok? No te va a dar una foto, tienen que dibujar más o menos lo que le están, o lo deben dibujar para tener una idea de lo que está pasando. Actually, now that I think about it, a picture isn't really necessary now that I think about it. All right, so they're giving you this. They're giving you these 2 points on directed line segment AB. That means we're starting at A and going to B. Remember, a directed line segment, that means a segment with a direction. So directed line segment AB, it makes a difference. You got to know that you're starting at A and going towards B. Okay, recuerden que un directed line segment quiere decir un segmento con dirección. Así que la dirección tiene importancia. Estamos empezando en el punto A y yendo hasta en la dirección del punto B. So what is the y coordinate of point F that partitions AB in the ratio of 3 to 2? All right, so the rise is 15. All right, because if we look at the y coordinates, it's going from -6 to +9. And this question only wants to know the y coordinate. Esta pregunta solamente quiere el coordinado de Y del punto F que divide el segmento AB en un radio de 3 a 2. All right, so the distance from -6 to +9 is 15. That's what I'm writing here, okay? All right, so since the distance from -6 to +9 is 15, and they want a ratio of 3 to 2. Remember, a ratio of 3 to 2 means that in total we need 5 parts. Un radio de 3 a 2 quiere decir que necesitamos 5 partes. So I got to divide this distance, which is 15, into 5 equal parts. All right, so that means that each part is going to be 3 units long. Okay, si divido esta distancia, que es 15 unidades, en 5 partes que miden igual, eso quiere decir que cada parte tiene que medir 3 unidades. So here's 1, 2, 3. All right, so there I got my first part, my second part, third, fourth, and fifth. Guys, if you draw a picture, it's really not that difficult. I know this seems complicated, but it's really not that difficult, okay? Really, all you have to draw is this line, this vertical line. And understand that we're going from -6 to +9. ¿Ok? Con dibujar esta línea vertical y entender que estamos yendo desde -6 hasta +9, eso es todo lo que necesitan dibujar. All right? In retrospect, I should have just drawn that, but whatever. I'm going to leave it like that. All right, so if we're starting at A and going towards B, and we got to divide it into a segment, into a ratio of 3 to 2. All right, let me change my pen color here to blue. So that means 1, 2, 3. Look, right, if I put a dot right there, a point right there, it's separating it into a ratio of 3 units to 2 units. Okay, ahí lo estoy separando en un radio de 3 unidades a 2 unidades. So all we need is, what's the y coordinate right there? The y coordinate is 3. All right, so hold on. Let me erase all the. Oh wait, here we go. All right, so all you need to know, I'm just trying to show you how you would do it if how you could do it. All right, all you would need is this. You're going from -6 to +9, okay? All right, and we're going from -6 to +9. That's all I'm doing. That's the y coordinate. And here's A, and here's point B. So where do I put point F so that it'll partition this into a ratio of 3 to 2? So again, 3 to 2 means you need 5 parts. 5 parts. Necesito 5 partes. All right, so from -6 to +9, that's a distance of 15. So 15 divided by 5 equals 3. So that means that each one of these 5 parts, 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay? Each one has to be 3 units long. So if I'm starting at -6, this would be -3, 0, 3, 6, and 9. All right, so our ratio of 3 to 2 would be right here, and the coordinate is +3. All right, I'm showing you how you could work this out without, having a graph. Okay, le estoy enseñando cómo lo pueden hacer sin tener un graph. Okay, guys, that's not that difficult. I know it seems complicated, but it's really not. All right. So the y coordinate of point F will be 3. All right, here's another example. All right, so let me show you this one the same way, okay? So we need the y coordinate. Here's point A. Otro ejemplo. Here's point A. Here's point B. All right, so they want a ratio of 3 to 1. So that means I need 4 parts. Necesito 4 partes para poder tener un radio de 3 a 1. So the y coordinates are going from -6 to +10. From -6 to +10. That's a distance of 16. Okay, la distancia es 16. Right, so the distance is 16. Okay, and I need 4 parts. Necesito 4 partes. So 16 divided by 4 means that each part is going to be 4 units long. Alright, so I need 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And each part is 4 units long. So if I'm starting at -6, -6 plus 4 is -2. -2 plus 4 is +2. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. Alright, and I need a ratio of 3 to 1. Boom. 3 units to 1 unit. So my answer is 6. Alright, so my answer is going to be 6. I may have one more example. No, I don't. Question 4A. Isaac drew segment A prime B prime 14 units long on a coordinate plane. His dilated line segment is parallel to segment AB, which is 21 units long. What was the scale factor of dilation for the line segment Isaac drew? Alright, so what you got to realize first of all is that this one is the image, because notice the apostrophes, A prime, B prime, and this is the pre-image. Alright, and scale factor is always the new over the original. Alright, so just put the new amount over the original amount to find the scale factor. In this case, 14 over 21, which when you simplify it, will give you 2 over 3. Alright, remember, new scale factor is always the new over the original. Okay, para encontrar el factor de escala siempre se divide el lado nuevo sobre el lado original y se tiene que simplificar. Here's another example, all right, where Laura drew segment A prime B prime, which is 8 units long. Okay, you can look at it yourself. Some more examples if you want to practice and make sure you understand, but they're all based on the same question on the test. Okay, moving on. Number 5, the figure below shows an 80-foot pole held in place by wires anchored at point B, 50 feet from the base of the pole. In the figure, segment BD bisects angle B. All right, this is definitely one that's a little tricky, so you definitely need to know it for the exam. All right, so the question is, what is the height of DC? This is the question. What is the height of DC? The pole on which the lower wire is attached. So we got to find out what is that height. La pregunta es ¿qué es la altura del segmento DC? So listen, to find the answer, this is basically 2 questions in one. We got 2 questions in one. Okay, so in order to find the answer, the first thing I'm going to do is find how many degrees is angle ABC. How many degrees is angle ABC? Ok, así que lo primero que voy a hacer, estas son 2 preguntas en una. Lo primero que voy a hacer es encontrar la medida de ángulo ABC. So the measure of angle ABC equals, okay, okay, now from the point of view of angle ABC, which is this angle right here, okay, 80 and 50 are what sides? 80 is the opposite, and 50 is the adjacent. And which trigonometric ratio compares the opposite and the adjacent side? That would be tangent. Tangent compares the opposite and the adjacent side. All right, so the measure of angle ABC is going to equal the inverse of tangent, 80 divided by 50. 80 divided by 50. Okay, which is going to equal, let me get my calculator here. And remember that for these, you got to use this key right here, which means first you got to hit this button. All right, so in your calculator, you would do 80 divided by 50 equals, and then hit the inverse of tangent button, and you're going to get approximately 57.99, let's say. 57.99, approximately. Or you know what? Let's just round it to 58 degrees. All right, so 58 degrees. All right, so the measure of angle ABC is approximately 58 degrees. La medida de ángulo ABC es aproximadamente 58 grados. Okay, but we're not done. That's only the first part of that we need to find our answer. Okay, eso es la primera parte que necesitamos para encontrar la respuesta. Okay, now look. It says here in the figure, segment BD bisects angle B. Segment BD is bisecting angle B. Este segmento está bisectando ángulo B. That means it's splitting it in half. So if this entire angle is 58 degrees, divide this by 2 to find out what each one of these angles measures. All right, so 58 divided by 2 is going to equal 29 degrees. All right, so I'm going to erase this, but each one of these angles is 29. Cada uno de estos ángulos es 29 grados. All right, so that means that this angle right here is 29 degrees. Okay, now let's just look at the small triangle on the bottom. All right, so the small triangle on the bottom, this is 29 degrees. This side is 50 feet. And I'm trying to figure out how long is this side. Okay, so now I'm going to set up my equation this way. And again, by the way, we have this, from the point of view of this angle, this is the opposite side. And this is the adjacent side. Okay, so again, which trigonometric ratio compares the opposite and the adjacent side? That's tangent. So the way I'm going to set up my equation is like this. The tangent of 29 degrees equals x over 50. X is this side right here that I don't know how much it measures, all right? So now to get x by itself, I got to move 50 to the left side of the equation and multiply it times the tangent of 29 degrees. Okay, so now we're going to use this button in a second up here. Not this one, now we're using this one. Okay, so the way you should enter it into the calculator, there's two ways. The easiest way to not make a mistake is to go from right to left. You would put 29, then hit the tangent button, then hit the multiplication button, and then hit 50, and then hit equals. Again, 29 tangent times 50 equals. Deben poner 29 tangent multiplicado por 50 igual a. Or if you go from left to right, you would hit 50 times 29 tangent equals. Si quieren ir de izquierda a derecha, sería 50 multiplicado por 29 tan igual a. Okay, so either way, the answer you should get, is 27.7 feet. That's the answer you should get. Esa es la respuesta que deben coger. All right, question number 6. The length of segment CD is 15 units. C prime D prime is the image of CD under a dilation with a scale factor of n. Which of these is true? Choose all that are correct. All right, so look, this is how you would do this one. If this is the pre-image, you got to check if I multiply it times this scale factor, will I get this number? So in other words, if I multiply 15 times a scale factor of 4/3, do I get the answer that it says here, 20? Okay, So that's how you would check this. There may be more than one correct answer. Ok, así que para chequear esta respuesta tienen que multiplicar el largo del segmento original, que es 15, por el factor que te está diciendo aquí. Si lo multiplico por este factor, tengo que chequear si me da este número. So the first one would be 15 times 4 over 3. That would equal, I mean, for the people that are not good at multiplying fractions, let me keep it simple, all right, and not simplify. That would equal 60 over 3, which equals 20. So this one is correct. The first one is correct. All right, the second one, if I multiply 15 times 2 over 3, that would equal 30 over 3, which equals 10. So the second one is also correct. All right, how many correct answers are there here? Several. Hey, listen, I'm always trying to imitate what's on the test. So if I put that many correct answers, that means it's most likely like that on the test. And why am I pointing that out? Because look, if 4 out of 5 questions are correct, there's a good chance that a lot of you guys would be doubting yourselves and would think, you know what, I must have done something wrong because this is too many correct answers. So if I put that many correct answers, again, there's a good chance I'm imitating the way it is on the test. So you need to be confident. If 4 out of the 5 are correct, then that's what it is, all right? Estoy imitando lo que está en el examen y miren cuántas respuestas están correctas. Hay 4. Así que si hay 4 correctos, hay 4 correctos. No empiecen a pensar que hicieron algo mal porque no pueden tener tantas respuestas correctas. Si hay 4 que están correctas, eso es lo que es. All right, moving on. 6B, I put more examples that you could practice. Aquí hay más ejemplos si lo quieren practicar. All right, number 7. All right, this one is worth looking at. Question 7A. This is a very important question to pay attention to. All right, it says a bird sitting on top of a stop sign notices a piece of food on the ground 12 feet from the base of the stop sign. If the bird has to look down at a 35-degree angle of depression in order to see the piece of food, what is the approximate distance from the bird to the food? Assume the stop sign is at a right angle to the ground. Okay, so first of all, we should draw a picture. All right, you don't have to be Picasso, but you should be able to do a little sketch to be able to analyze what they're describing in the question, all right? So here's the situation, and there's a couple things I need to explain, all right? All right, so first of all, here's our bird on top of the stop sign, all right? This vertical line is the stop sign, the bird is on top of it. Now, something that was not in the book, but it is on this test is this word, an angle of depression. An angle of depression is created by starting at this horizontal line and going down. All right, again, an angle of depression is created if we start with this horizontal line and go downwards. So this is the 35-degree angle of depression that the bird creates when he looks down. But that means that inside this triangle, this is 55 degrees. All right. That's very important because if you mess up and think of the 30 and write the 35 degrees in here, that's going to totally mess up your answer. All right. So again, the bird looks down, that creates a 35-degree angle of depression. But if we're looking at, this is the stop sign, this is the ground, and this is the distance from the bird to the food, the angle in here would be 90 degrees minus whatever this angle is. So 90 degrees minus 35 degrees will give you this angle, which is 55 degrees. Since the stop sign and the ground create a 90-degree angle, if this angle is 55 degrees, this one has to be 90 minus 55, which in this case is 35 degrees. All right, and the question is, what is the distance from the bird to the food? All right, this question has a lot of other important things to look at, all right? So on this one, you got to stay with me. Let me just try to say that in Spanish real quick. Ok, así que la pregunta dice que hay un pájaro encima de un signo de parar. Ok, el signo de parar es esta línea vertical que forma un ángulo recto con el piso. Ok, la distancia entre el signo de parar y la comida que el pájaro ve en la calle es una distancia de 12 pies. 12 pies. Ok, ahora lo que estaba explicando es que esto no estaba en el libro. Un ángulo de depresión un ángulo de depresión, dice que cuando el pájaro mira para abajo, forma un ángulo de depresión de 35 grados. Ese ángulo es formado empezando con esta línea horizontal y yendo para abajo. Eso es muy importante porque eso nos dice que si el signo de parar y el piso con la comida forman un triángulo recto, este ángulo aquí se encuentra haciendo 90 menos lo que sea este ángulo de depresión. Así que te da 55 grados. Eso es muy importante porque si por accidente ponen los 35 grados aquí, van a coger la respuesta mal, ¿ok? Así que eso es muy importante. Okay, now there's something else. This question is really tricky, all right? Okay, so I think most of us, the way we would try to do this problem is by using this angle, and then these two sides, are, from the point of view of this angle right here, this side is the opposite, and this side is the hypotenuse, right? So if you use this angle and these two sides, you would use sine, all right? But that method creates a problem because they don't tell you this, but in order to get the exact answer, on the test, you gotta substitute one of these three values into your work. So when you're doing your work, in order to get the exact answer that's on the test, you gotta substitute one of these three into your work. And if I do it this way, sine of 55 degrees, that's not here, so I can't substitute any of these values in here. Because with this method, I get this answer, but I'm telling you on the test, the answers are close enough that you're not going to be sure which is the correct answer unless you substitute one of these values. So what I'm saying is important. So if I were to do it this way, I'm going to be guessing because the answers are too close. All right? Si usan este método, no cogen la respuesta exacta que está en el examen, porque para encontrar la respuesta exacta que está en el examen, tiene que sustituir uno de estos valores. Y si usamos este método, sin 55 grados, aquí no podemos sustituir nada en este método. Y las respuestas son, todas las respuestas están más o menos cerca y van a tener que adivinar si hacen este método, porque no van a coger la respuesta correcta. All right, look at the other method that does give us the exact answer. Okay, este segundo método es que nos da la respuesta exacta. If we do it from the point of view of this angle, si lo hacemos del punto de vista de este ángulo, that allows us to use cosine. Because from the point of view of this angle, this is the adjacent, and this is the hypotenuse. All right? So that allows me to set up this equation. Cosine of 35 degrees equals 12 over x. Now to get x by itself, I move the x to the left and cosine 35 degrees to the right, creating this equation right here. This equation right here. The thing is this, once I got this equation, I could substitute for cosine of 35 degrees, I could substitute this for cosine of 35 degrees. Si uso esta ecuación, puedo sustituir para el cosine de 35 grados este valor. Que cuando divido, ahora sí que me da la respuesta exacta que está en el examen. When I divide, using that method, I do get the exact answer on the test. Again, this is something you should look at before the test. If you decide to look at this for the first time while you're doing the test, good luck. You're gonna be overwhelmed. You're probably just gonna get something wrong because it's just too much to look at, and you're not gonna remember all these details that I'm telling you. Okay, si esperan hasta el examen para mirar esto y tratar de entenderlo, va a ser demasiado y no lo van a coger bien. Tienen que mirar esto y estudiarlo antes del examen. All right, 7B, I got another example just like it, but with different numbers for you to practice. Okay, aquí tengo otro ejemplo con diferentes números para que lo practiquen. All right, practice it and make sure you get the right answer. Practiquen para ver si cogen la respuesta correcta. All right, question 8. Make sure you understand this proof and are ready to answer questions about it. So look at this before the test, look it over and make sure you understand it. Go through it slowly because there's going to be questions on this proof. Okay, hay una pregunta sobre esta prueba, así que antes del examen, leen esta prueba, miren cada paso y estén seguros que lo entienden porque hay varias preguntas sobre esta prueba. All right, question number 9. What did I do here? It says point C, which is at 8, 3, point C divides the line segments. Point C divides the line segment joining points A and point B. All right. So look, this question is also tricky because normally they give us point A and point B, and we got to figure out the point in between them. Here, they're giving us point A, they're giving us the point in between them, and we got to figure out the coordinates of point B. All right, so point C divides the line segment joining points A and B such that the ratio of AC to CB is 4 to 1. What are the coordinates of point B? Okay. Normalmente nos dan los coordinados del punto A y del punto B y tenemos que encontrar los coordinados del punto que está en el medio, que lo divide en un radio que nos dicen. Pero aquí nos están dando los coordinados del punto A, del punto que está en el medio, y tenemos que encontrar los coordinados del punto B. Alright, so look how you do it. Since the ratio is 4 to 1, that means from A to C, you need to have 4 equal segments, and from C to B, 1 segment. From point A to point C, the distance between the x coordinates is 10. Okay, look at the x coordinates. They go from -2 to +8. Let me do that over here. Let's just look at the x coordinates. X coordinate. All right, si miramos los coordinados de x, from A to C, they're going from -2 to +8. That's a distance of 10. And we need 4 equal segments here. We need 4 equal segments. All right. So look, this is a challenging question because it's going to involve fractions, and it's like this on the exam. Okay. Esto es con fracciones y es así en el examen. So the distance from A to C is 10, and we need 4 equal parts. So that means each segment has to be 10 divided by 4, 10 over 4 units long, which if I simplify that is 5 over 2. Each one of these segments has to be 5 over 2 units long. All right. Okay, so again, the distance from A to C is 10, and if I divide it into 4 segments, that's 10 over 4, which when I simplify that is 5 over 2. And the answer is going to be in fractions, so leave it as a fraction. However, I don't need to get the coordinates of any of these little segments. Once I know that each segment is 5 over 2 units long, I could just add 5 over 2 to whatever this coordinate is to get the x coordinate of B. I'll say it again. Since I know that the distance from A to the next segment, to the next segment, to the next one, to the next one is 5 over 2, all right? All I need to do is, since the x coordinate of C is 8, all I need to do is add 8 plus 5 over 2 to get the x coordinate of B. All right, which is what I put right here, 8 plus 5 over 2. The thing is, I got to add it, which I'll do next in a second, okay? Como ya sé que cada segmento mide 5 sobre 2, solamente tengo que sumar 5 sobre 2 a 8, que es lo que escribí aquí, para coger el coordinado de x para el punto B. How do I add that? Like this. 8 plus 5 over 2. I got to change the 8 to have a 2 in the denominator, because the least common denominator of 1 and 2 is 2. So I'm going to change the 8 over 1 to have a 2 in the denominator. So ask yourself, 1 times what equals 2? 1 times 2. So multiply the top times 2 and you get 16 over 2. Notice that 16 divided by 2 is equal to 8. Guys, that's middle school math. Everybody should know that by now. So my x coordinate for point B is going to be 21 over 2. All right, el coordenado de x para el punto B es 21 sobre 2. Okay, now let's look at the y coordinate. All right, so let's use the same method. From point A to point C, the y coordinate is going from -5 to +3. El coordenado de y va desde -5 hasta +3. All right, that's a distance of 8. That's a distance of 8. La distancia es 8. And we need, that part consists of 4 equal parts. You know what? I just realized, why am I drawing this over here if I got it here? All right, whatever. Okay, so that part consists of 4 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So if I divide 8 into 4 equal parts, that means each segment is 2 units long. 2 units long. Si divido 8 en 4 partes iguales, eso quiere decir que cada parte mide 2 unidades. So now to find the coordinate, the y coordinate of B, just add 2 to this 3. Just add 2 to the y coordinate of C. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So the y coordinate is going to be 5. And the x coordinate was 21 over 2. Alright, so that's my answer. Not as difficult as it looks, guys. Alright? Don't be weak. I'm telling you everything you got to do. Alright? I put another question here. Same thing. I just changed up the numbers so that you could practice. Okay, aquí hay otro problema similar para que lo practiquen. Alright, and there's the answer. Alright, you could always write the question on the top and see if you can get the same answer. Again, that's going to be on the test, and it has fractions. Esto está en el examen y tiene fracciones. Alright, number 10. Melanie claims the triangle ABE is similar to triangle ACD. Alright, so ABE is the small triangle, and ACD is the big triangle. Select 2 of the transformations or series of transformations that support Melanie's claim and maps triangle ABE to triangle ACD. Alright, for the sake of speeding this up, let's look at the correct answers. B and C. Let's look at them a second, alright? Okay, letter B says a dilation with a scale factor of 2 about point A. Alright, listen, the points are important. If the center of dilation is point A, then it's easy, alright? This side is 2, so when you dilate it with a scale factor of 2, this 2, you multiply it times 2, and it becomes 4. And this side is 4, you multiply it by 2, and it becomes 8. So I'll say it again, if this is the center of dilation, if you dilate by a scale factor of 2, this side, which was 2, becomes this side, which is now 4. And this side, which is 4, becomes this side, which is now 8. Right? So that explains letter B. However, let's look at letter C. In letter C, which is also correct, they're also doing a scale factor of 2, but now the center of dilation is point B. So look, imagine this a second. If the center of dilation is point B, and you do a dilation with a scale factor of 2, it's going to do it this way, like this. Alright, again, if this is the center of dilation, point B, and you dilate it with a scale factor of 2, it'll make it the same size as this big triangle, but it's going this way. So now, in addition to dilating it, you also got to do a translation 2 units down so that it'll be on top of the triangle that's in the question, okay? Así que si lo hacen la dilatación con un factor de 2 y el centro de dilatación es el punto B, ¿ok? Eso hace este triángulo que dibujé en rojo. Así que necesitamos una transformación más, una traslación 2 unidades para abajo para que esté encima del triángulo que está en la foto. Alright, look what I wrote here, guys. I wrote this for a reason. Okay, my question is similar, but I'm telling you right now, I changed it up in a way that if you don't know what you're doing, you're totally going to mess this question up. Like the A's and the B's are mixed up, the 3's and the 2's are mixed up, these A's and this letters are mixed up. So if you don't understand it, you're totally going to mess up on the test. Look at this one, make sure you understand it. If you understand it, it's easy. I'm basically kind of giving you the answer. But on the question, on the test, make sure you read this question, all the details, very carefully, because it's very easy to mess up. I'm telling you right now. That's why I put that warning, okay? Así que esta pregunta es bien similar a lo que está en el examen, pero con los cambios que yo le hice, es muy fácil hacer un error. Así que en el examen le puse que tienen que leer todos los detalles con mucho cuidado, porque es muy fácil hacer un error si no lo entienden bien. Tienen que entender la pregunta bien. Si lo entienden bien, es fácil, pero lo tienen que leer con cuidado. Alright, 11A. Another fun problem. Edgar draws a plan of his school. Again, if this is on here, it's because it's on the test, all right? Edgar draws a plan of his school on a coordinate grid. he plots the school gate at point P right here and the library at point Q over here. He notices that the science lab is also located on segment PQ and is 2/3 the distance from the library to the school gate. Let me point out something right off the bat that they're trying to mess you up. 2/3 the distance from the library to the school gate. That means starting at the library, you're starting here and going down this way. Remember I told you the direction matters? So in this case, you're going in this direction. If you do it going in the other direction, you're going to get it wrong, okay? Ok, así que la dirección tiene importancia y te están diciendo en la pregunta que estamos empezando en la biblioteca y yendo en esta dirección. Okay? So they want to know what are the coordinates of the science lab, okay, which is located 2/3 the distance from the library to the school gate. What are the coordinates, okay? Ellos quieren saber los coordinados el labro, I don't know how to say that, de esta clase de ciencia que está a 2/3 la distancia desde la biblioteca hasta aquí, desde el punto Q hasta el punto P, okay? Look what I wrote here. They will not give you a picture on the test. No te va a dar una foto en el examen. All right, so again, you could do, I would do it like this, all right? Let me draw it here, okay? So let's do the x coordinates first. We're starting at, let's say this is point Q and point P. All right, I'm finding the x coordinate, okay? Vamos primero a encontrar el coordinado de x. All right, so P is at -6 and Q is at +2. All right, and all right, here's another tricky part. 2/3 of the distance, that means 2 out of 3. That's a ratio of 2 to 1. Think about that a second. 2/3 the distance, that means 2 out of 3, which means 2 to 1. 2/3 de la distancia, quiere decir 2 de un total de 3. Así que el radio es 2 a 1. All right, so that means we need 3 parts. Okay, necesitamos 3 partes. So this is going from -6 to +2. That's a distance of 8. Una distancia de 8. And I need 3 parts. So I got to divide 8 by 3 and I'm stuck with a fraction again. Tengo que dividir 8 por 3 y eso me deja con una fracción otra vez. Okay, and the other thing is this. All right, so remember that we're starting here and going this way. Estamos empezando en Q y yendo para acá. So 2 to 1, that means the dot has to be here so that it'll be 2 on the right and 1 on the left. Okay, el punto tiene que estar aquí para que sea 2 partes a la derecha y 1 a la izquierda. All right, so the easiest way to do it is to add 8/3 to this -6 to get what the x coordinate should be right here. I'll say it again. Since each one of these is going to measure 8/3, 8/3, 8/3, I could just add 8/3 to this x coordinate, all right, to get what this should be, okay? Como cada unidad tiene que medir 8/3, puedo simplemente sumar 8/3 a este número para coger el coordinado de x de este punto. All right, so -6/1 plus 8/3. I got to change the -6/1 to have a 3 on the bottom. So that's going to become -18/3. I don't have time to break that down for people that still don't know fractions. Sorry, or that will be here forever. All right, now when I add that, I get -10/3. That's it. That's my x coordinate for right here, -10/3. Okay, eso es mi coordinado de x. Now, obviously, I can already figure out the answer just from that. All right, but let me just do the y coordinate as well. En este caso, con esa respuesta ya puedo encontrar el coordinado de x. Pero déjame hacer lo mismo para el coordinado de y. All right, so for the y coordinate, el coordinado de y. All right, so the y coordinate is going from -3 to +6. Here's P, here's Q. From -3 to +6. All right, we need a ratio of 2 to 1, so I need 3 equal parts. The distance from -3 to +6 is 9. And I need 3 parts, so 9 divided by 3 tells me that each part is 3 units long. So -3 plus 3 is 0, 0 plus 3 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6. And we're starting at Q and going this way. So the point that we would need for a ratio of 2 to 1 would be this point right here. So the y coordinate is 0, which is what's right here as well. All right, there's my explanation of everything I just did. Ahí está mi explicación. I have another problem. Oh no, I thought I had another problem for you to practice on this one, but I guess not. All right, let's look at this one. All right, so 12A. 2 students measure the angle between the ground and the top of a flagpole at a distance of 40 feet. All right, and the question is, which equation could be used to find the height of the flagpole? All right, only one of these equations is correct. Solamente una de estas ecuaciones está verdadero. All right? All right, so the correct answer would be the tangent of 20 degrees is the only one that's correct. Listen, this one, look at it carefully because it's very tricky, especially the two tangent. Look at the two tangent answers carefully so that you could realize why one of them is wrong and one of them is right. All right, one of them is wrong. It's comparing the wrong sides, okay? Uno de las respuestas que dice tangent está comparando los lados incorrectos, okay? Estudien eso antes del examen. Look at that before the exam. Here's another one similar. Aquí hay otro similar y aquí está la respuesta. All right, 13A. All right, another question that has like 2 parts. All right, basically the question is, what is the horizontal distance between the 2 trees? All right, what is the horizontal distance between the 2 trees? What is this distance? That's the question. La pregunta es, ¿cuál es la distancia horizontal entre las dos matas? Okay, in order to find this distance, I first got to find this distance. I first got to find this side, and then I got to find this side, and at the end I got to add them both together. Okay, para encontrar esa distancia, primero tengo que encontrar este lado, después este lado, y al final sumar los dos lados. All right, so hold on. So in order to find this side right here, look at the information that we have in this right triangle. We have this angle, we have the opposite side, and we're looking for the adjacent side. So that requires us to use tangent. The tangent of 57 degrees equals 70 over x. So now to solve for x, we would do x equals 70 divided by tangent of 57 degrees. So you would do that in your calculator, okay? In your calculator, 70 tangent, no, I'm sorry, in your calculator, 70 divided by 57 tan equals, and your answer, whoops, when you do that, your answer for this side is approximately 40, yeah, let's just say 45 feet. I accidentally put up the answer, but whatever. All right, now if we look at this triangle over here, in order to find this side, we got to do tangent of 52 degrees equals the opposite over the adjacent. So that would mean x equals 70 divided by tangent of 52 degrees. So when you do that in your calculator, 70 divided by 52 tan equals, you're going to get approximately 55 feet. All right, so when you add them both up, you get 100 feet, okay? La suma te da 100 pies en este ejemplo. All right, so there's all the work. Ahí está el trabajo de lo que acabé de hacer. All right, and here's another problem in case you want to practice. Aquí hay otro problema con números diferentes si lo quieren practicar. It has different numbers, so you can practice that on your own if you want to make sure you understand. Okay, so in number 14, last question. if triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, determine the measure of angle A. All right, so if the two triangles are similar, that means angle A is equal to angle D. So all you got to do is set them equal to each other. All right, 3x plus 40 equals 5x plus 2. Solve for x, which in this case is 19. And you have to remember to substitute the value of x into the expression for the measure of angle A in order to find out how much the measure of angle A measures. All right, so don't make the mistake of accidentally solving for x and choosing that answer, because that'll be one of the wrong answers. Ok, así que tenemos que encontrar la medida de ángulo A. Primero, ángulo A tiene que ser congruente a ángulo D si los dos triángulos son similares. Así que ponen uno igual al otro para resolver para x y se tienen que recordar de sustituir el valor de x dentro de la expresión para la medida de ángulo A y encontrar la medida de ángulo A. Una de las respuestas malas van a ser la que tiene el valor de x. Así que tienen que recordar de sustituir el valor de x. Alright guys, so that concludes section 2, the review for section 2 of the exam, guys. Good luck on the exam and make sure to study before the exam.